Well, my friends, I want to talk to you today about the process, right? What it takes to take my concepts and ideas into the canvas. And this is a perfect time because I'm actually working on a brand new piece right here in the back. So this is a piece that I've been thinking about, that I've been working on for a while. And I want to tell you a little bit of how my brain works in terms of taking a conceptual idea for a painting and all the layering, the process that it goes into actually finishing a piece. My name is Sergio Gomez. I'm an artist, curator, gallery owner, author, and co-founder of the Art Next Level program. And my goal with this channel is to make marketing and art business easy so that you can grow your art career, find new opportunities, sell more art, and spend more time creating in the studio. So if you like that, make sure you click on the subscribe button and click on the little bell so that you receive notifications of our future videos. And I'm going to show you maybe here also samples of some of the paintings that I have right now on view at 33 Contemporary Gallery to kind of also give you a sense of what it takes, right, to come up with an idea, and then how do I bring that into the canvas. And there's never an exact replica of an idea, right? A lot of ideas come from different places. So the one that I'm working on here right now, and I think this will be good to talk about it because it's a piece that I'm working right now in all the layers and the process of adding color, adding information into the surface, and I think it's a good way to start. So a lot of my pieces start with not specifically a vision of what I want to make. A lot of times it's an idea, a thought, like, oh, I want to make a figure in such and such position. Like, for example, these two paintings back here, I really wanted to do the figure defying gravity. And so you have the female and the male kind of like defying gravity. So a lot of times it's a concept of that I'm working on, right? My work is about the cycles of life and about our spiritual awareness throughout those cycles. So that is at the core. That is kind of like what anchors my art. So it really helps, to think about what is it that is the core of your message. And thinking about that, particularly if you are an emerging artist or you're an artist trying to kind of figure out, how to make it as an artist and professionally get it out in the world so that people understand what you do. Think about what is your core message, right? What is the thing that you really want to make your work really about? Now, within that core message, there are many other subjects. Think of it this way: when you read a book, right? A book is divided into many chapters. And in those chapters, the author can talk about all kinds of things. So that's how I think of an artist's career. What is the title of my book? My book as an artist is, the cycles of life or spiritual awareness throughout those cycles. And now each painting, is a different chapter that perhaps has a different bit of a message or a specific thing I want to convey or talk about, but it is under the umbrella of the cycles of life. So in this particular painting, now that I moved to Florida, I've never done like an ocean scene, and this piece is going to be sort of like that. I want to do like the storm, or actually the piece after the storm, right? The silence, the quiet of the ocean after the storm. It's been raining all week here, even though today is a beautiful day. It's been raining all week here in South Florida, and like big storms in the evenings. And that's what I had the idea. Although I had started another painting, and you see here there's a figure. It's a figure that I started because I use the figures in a lot of my work. And the figures are more of an outline. They're more of like a presence versus an actual portrait. And I want the figure to be a symbol of all of us, right? They stand for the universal human being. That's why they don't have a specific face. I don't want it to be a portrait of me or my friend, or it symbolizes all of us. So since I had a figure before, and I'm going to show you some shots so you can see kind of how this painting started, which is very different as to what it is now. The way I work is I work with acrylic, and I work with acrylic paint. I use big brushes and small brushes, depends on what I'm doing. I do also a lot of surface work, in which, as I paint, you would see the dripping of the paint, particularly you see it down here. All this, I love this dripping. So as I use acrylic paint, and I add water to the canvas so that when I apply the paint, it drips, right? There's a lot of dripping. This is one of my most important tools. Spray bottle, I must have that always when I'm working because the spray bottle allows the paint to be loose. My paintings are very flat, even though there might be a sense of texture, they are quite flat. So uh, I build an implied texture by layering. So I do sometimes hundreds of layers on a single painting, and at each of stage, the layer has to dry. So I did this last night. Was working on it last night. I covered the figure. You can still see parts of it, but you see the richness of color because there's different types of blue. There's white. There's purples, and I let that dry. So today I'm gonna continue working on it. And I'll let you see how that process goes. I'm gonna show you a piece that's already finished, which is my most recent work. This one right here is called the stand. Now, this painting, for example, the way the concept came about for this painting is I actually had an idea. And the idea, then became this painting. And in my idea, this is one of those rare paintings where I actually knew about all the different elements I wanted in the painting. Because typically in my work, things just kind of happen. Things just kind of like evolve as I work. Really, I have like a very specific idea. And on this one, I did have an idea specifically, and it was this idea of early morning. I get up in the morning. I do my kind of like work on my spiritual self, my mindset, my wellness. So I like to wake up early in the morning when it's still dark outside, when everybody's sleeping still at home, and my wife's sleeping, the kids are sleeping, and I like to wake up early and just go to a quiet place when it's dark. I don't even turn the lights on to do my prayer, to do meditation, to do reading, to really listen sometimes to music. I really work on myself, right, to prepare myself spiritually for the day ahead. And one day I was reading the book of Ephesians in the Bible, and it talks about the armor of God, which is like how you prepare for the day. You put a shield, put the shoes, it's kind of like how a warrior of those days in biblical times, the Roman centurion, will wear. And I was visualizing those elements as I was reading this passage, like, oh, wow, that is pretty cool. So I imagine actually a setting, a more contemporary setting where kind of mixes the contemporary world and also the Roman Empire type of imagery with the helmet, and the shield and the breastplate, and the belt of truth, for example, and the spear here, and the book, the sandals, right? Almost like also I wanted to use kind of a palette that was almost like Renaissance type of palette, chiaroscuro, like high contrast in the different elements on this painting. So emphasizing that, but in my style, right, which is again this drippy paint that kind of pulls you to the ground. And in a lot of my paintings, you will also see butterflies. To me, a butterfly is a symbol of transition, a symbol of renewal, rebirth type of thing. And in a lot of my work, you'll see like this glow of light, right? This element of light that just comes down and bathes the space with light. I see that as a spiritual presence. That's how I see it. So this to me is like a morning ritual, right? In which I'm by the window when it's still dark outside, just a glimpse of light, and then you have these elements of spiritual presence coming into bathing the space. That's what I'm reading, and then the butterflies again, those symbols of transformation. So that is what this painting is about. And again, the concept came to me, and I saw an idea, and then I transferred that to canvas. In a lot of other works, sometimes an idea may come, for example, on this one from, this is the first painting I did when I came to Florida. In this painting, my daughter and my wife were walking in this beautiful, luscious garden here in South Florida, in Boca Raton to be exact. And I saw them walking in front of me, surrounded by all this vegetation, and I took a picture and I said, one day I want to do a painting, of their silhouette walking into this beautiful, like, garden of life. And that's what happened. So you see it right here. So in my process, I use a lot of stencil work as well. So these are all stencils that I have of plants and flowers and vegetations. And I use their silhouette and the stencils to create this kind of like deep forest. Now, this red line, which a lot of times appears in my work, is a conceptual idea, and the line to me is almost like an umbilical cord, a bloodline, a red line of connection. And the red line is actually used in many cultures as well, and many ancient cultures having different types of symbolism also related to life. And so in my work, it's added here as a way of connecting, right? As a bloodline. In this case, mother and daughter, right? Both are being connected as well in that sense in this beautiful garden. But like I mentioned before, the figures have no face, right? It's just an outline, so that they could be anybody. They don't have to be my daughter and my wife. Could be anyone. Now here's another painting, for example, that came from a photograph. This one came from a picture. So my daughter was 13 years old when I took this photograph, and in the background, in the back of the house, we had a beautiful swing in the backyard that my kids were using since they were little, right? I would put this playset, this swing, and then of course she was 13, so she wasn't using it anymore. And I told my kids, you know what, guys, I'm gonna take down the swing because you guys don't use it, and you guys are too old now, and nobody uses it. It's just taking up space. It's easier to cut the grass for me when there's no swing, right? So I said, okay, I'm gonna take it down. And my daughter says, oh, let me try it one last time. So one Sunday after we came from church, she just went in the swing. She had a beautiful dress and she was just swinging, and I took a picture and I said, this is a wonderful moment. That's part of my memory and my history, but I think it can capture, this idea of the swing, the transition between childhood and being an adolescent, a teenager. And I think this is a wonderful moment that can reflect on that. So I call this painting the swings memory. The swings memory. So with this swings memory, the idea is that, every swing, if my idea was like, if every swing can talk about what kids dream while they are on the swing, that would be amazing, right? So that's why it's called the swings memory. Only the child and the swing know, what they were thinking about. And I remember when I was a kid, I loved swings, and I used to dream I was a pilot. And I used to dream when I was on the swing, that I was a pilot, flying this really awesome jet. So, if that swing could share my dreams, right? That would be really awesome. So that's what this painting is about. And again, the figure here is in color black because it's just a memory, right? And it's just a silhouette, almost like a cutout of something that was there and is no longer there, right? It's like a memory. And again, it could be anyone's child. And it's actually one of the paintings that a lot of people, when they come to the gallery, they really talk about because of that. A fun fact about this painting is that an image of this painting is in the moon. It's archived in the actual moon up there on the sky as part of the Lunar Codex project that was created by Dr. Samuel Peralta, Canadian scientist and artist himself too. He's got this amazing project archiving artwork in the moon, art, poetry, music, literature, etc. And I have the fortune to have this painting as being one of the pieces that's in that project. And so a cool also thing that I did with this painting, as part of, again, always thinking about the life of the painting even after it's done, is because he went to the moon, right, an image of it, not the actual painting, but an image of it, then I actually digitized it and created an augmented reality experience. So if you see this artwork with an app that's called Artivibe on your phone, the painting then changes. Now it becomes a night scene, and the girl, is swinging at night, and the moon is right behind her, and you can see the stars and the galaxies. It's really cool. I'm going to show you here how that looks. But that is also kind of an added conceptual element to the painting that came much after. So I've been also adding sometimes those sorts of things in my paintings, things that would add another dimension or another idea, in the digital world, in the digital realm. Now, these two paintings, which I pointed out at the start, conceptually, I knew kind of what I wanted to make, but I had no idea how they were going to look like until I actually was in the process of making the pieces. So again, that's kind of like how my brain works and how the ideas come, from my mind into the canvas as I'm working on this one. It will probably change, probably continue to change, over time. And I enjoy that. I enjoy not being 100% sure of how the painting is going to look like. So I believe, making art is part of the process of having a dialogue with the work, trying to listen to what it tells you, and how you respond to that, right? A conversation, it's a back and forth. You add something or you subtract something, and then you wait to hear what the painting has to say. So if you are an emerging artist or a new artist, looking into how to make good paintings, think about it as a dialogue. Maybe that could help you. What do I bring to the table? What do I add right now, and what am I subtracting? And having that conversation with your painting, with your artwork, whatever it may be, drawing, sculpture, and think of it as a chat, as a conversation. Sometimes the painting takes a while, to tell you what it needs. I've done paintings where I work on it, work a layer, and I have to wait sometimes a week or sometimes 2 weeks, to wait to hear what it needs. Like, I don't get it. Like, tell me more. Like, I don't know what I need to do next. So I wait, and all of a sudden, like, I know what it needs. And when I do that, then boom, it's an amazing, incredible work. Versus if I'm just trying to rush it just to get it done. And sometimes you have deadlines. You have no choice. You have to get things done, right? But also, you don't want to wait forever. You just got to get to work. And you become a better artist by making more art. That's it. That's the bottom line. Every artist grows with every artwork that we create. So I need a favor, guys. In this channel, I talk a lot about marketing, and I talk about also sales, and I talk a lot about the profession of being an artist and how to build an art career. And sometimes I talk about my own art and my process. If you want to hear more about my art and process, in the comments, put the word yes. And I'll try to do more videos that also relate to my process, my way of working, my materials, etc., etc. If you have some suggestions of what kind of things you would like to know about my own process of working, making art, please do put those questions in the comments, and I can make a video about that. Or just put the word yes. If you just want more videos like this, put the word yes. I'll be happy to do that. But wait, before you leave this video, if you are an artist who wants to grow your art career and wants to achieve greater success, make sure you check out the Art Next Level program. You'll find a link under this video. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the next video that we have recommended just for you.